Franz, this is Andy. This is just a quick video giving you some background on the PRB, what it is that's going to happen if you're submitting an add-on to it, and what it is we expect out of you if you are a member of the PRB. First off, PRB stands for Peer Review Board, and it really is a group of volunteers from the community who have decided they have a little extra time and would like to help approve things for the marketplace. You probably also already know that the concrete5.org marketplace is highly curated, and we work really hard to make sure there's nothing in there that doesn't actually work. So you got to make sure your add-on's fully functioning, or your theme, and you're going to have to keep it working over time. Even if your add-on is free, after a while if it's not working and people are having problems with it, we're going to yoink it from the marketplace. We really want that place to be safe and easy to understand, and anyone can shop there. So we're just going to take it kind of quickly through some of the kind of rules and background, and then we'll show you a little bit about how the actual interface works, what the tests are that's going through, what the process you're getting into are. A couple of background points. The PRB is not here to help you with pricing. If you want to make your stuff free, that's great. More free stuff that's out there, the better. You do not have to provide endless support for free things. It's important that it work to some degree. But no, by making your stuff free, you don't have to also provide your time for free. If you are going to make it a paid add-on, you do have to provide support. Yep. So you're going to sell your add-on, even if it's just for $15, which incidentally is the smallest amount you can sell anything in our marketplace for. You will have to provide up to 30 days support to the people who buy it. Well, you don't have to provide endless upgrades.
And what does that mean? That means if somebody buys your add-on and then 3 months later they submit a support request, you don't have to. You
don't have to. That's up to you. Always good to keep people happy. And depending on the circumstances, different things can happen.
And we do track how long it takes you to fulfill these things, and that is sort of a rolling metric.
Yeah, it's a little organic. But generally the idea is if someone buys something, they should feel comfortable that it will install and it will do what it says. And if there's something you can do to help them to make sure that comes together, that's a good thing. Point I want to make here though is don't ask the PRB how much you think that, or they think that you should sell something for. And if you're a PRB member, don't offer, especially unsolicited, how much you think something is worth. I know it's kind of counterintuitive, but the truth is that none of us are particularly adept marketers. We're all come from a technical background, and who knows what someone is going to spend on something. We don't.
Yeah, what the value comes from, whether it's the code or how you market.
Right? Yeah. Who amongst us has a PhD in economics?
Yeah.
Not I.
No.
What I can offer you, a couple of tidbits of wisdom. Many businesses will easily give manager types a budget of $300 that doesn't need to be approved. So if you've got a corporate card, it's very easy to go buy a piece of software that costs less than $300. You don't have to ask anyone. $301 is much harder. A lot of businesses will spend many, many thousands of dollars on software that doesn't do all that much, but it's very difficult to just charge $2,000 on the credit card. So 300 is a bit of a magic number that we kind of want to get close to, but not go over.
And in general, I guess, this is not meant to be advice for how you should price your add-ons, but what we've seen is it's add-ons that are really geared toward developers, generally not quite priced as high as add-ons that are more geared toward businesses. And
yeah, there's definitely two audiences using concrete5, and the larger audience, to be frank, is what we would consider site owners on budget hosts like Bluehost or DreamHost or what have you, and they're installing concrete5 through the one-click installer. They're finding your products through their own site. They're not coming to concrete5.org and looking at the marketplace. They're browsing in-site through that interface, and they're buying themes, image galleries, things at a lower price point that solve a granular problem for them.
Social buttons,
that kind of stuff. A developer is often going to want to kind of see the code. They're often going to want to kind of extend a little bit further. They're going to run into that kind of open source sensibility of, well, look, if I've improved on this, how is this not mine now? And so at some point you might choose, hey, I'm going to make that stuff free and sell my time, and have a larger exposure because my product is free. Again, up to you. I don't know. If you want to start a discussion somewhere with anyone, that's fine, you can do that, but the PRB is not the place to get into pricing debates. The other thing I want to kind of draw up before we get into details, it is up to you to own what you are submitting. you are agreeing by submitting to the PRB that everything that you are submitting in your package, you legally have the rights to distribute. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you wrote every line of code yourself. If you are using libraries and those libraries are open source or just licensed in a way that will work, that's fine. But you need to be thoughtful about the fact that you are taking on the liability for the code that you are submitting. None of us has learned to code in a void.
No.
All of us borrow code from time to time. There's different schools of thought as to how healthy that is and where that line of borrowing is. And this comes back to that infamous statement in the Congress of, I don't know what porn is. I can't define porn, but I know it when I see it. That's kind of this.
Yeah, but,
code
reuse
with code
versus
reuse.
plagiarism.
So if you're borrowing someone else's code, you probably want to go ahead and let them know, hey, I really love this function. Do you mind if I use it? That kind of thing. It's really up to you guys to police that. If it comes back to us and we hear during the PRV process or afterwards that there's an add-on or theme that is reusing someone else's stuff, our policy is to simply turn off both parties until it gets worked out amongst yourselves. We are not going to police that, so please be thoughtful. Beyond that, it's mostly technical stuff. So this is printed, but there's a page on our site that gives you some background and describes in actually pretty good detail what needs to be in there, types of icons that you need to have, errors that we're looking for, and that kind of thing. And recently we've just added some improvements to the PRB that actually run both some automatic and some human-driven tests. So I think we're going to take a quick look at that interface, and Andy's going to walk us through what those automatic tests are and then how the manually driven tests work. What do we have?
Right now we are looking at a theme.
Okay.
So there's two sets of automated tests. Add-ons, which are pretty much most of what's in concrete5.org marketplace, has fewer tests than the themes, because if you're submitting a theme, we do some extra tests to make sure that that what you're looking at is conforming to what we require. The first one here is for both add-ons and themes. It's a has valid 97 by 97 marketplace thumbnail. This is in the sort of absolute basics section of the rules. If you browse the marketplace for longer than a minute, you'll see that each add-on and theme has an icon next to it, and this has to be found within the zip file you upload. We automatically extract it from that, and we check its dimensions. So it also should ideally conform to some of the sort of styles that you see throughout the marketplace with the rounded corners.
Yeah.
There's a Photoshop template in the rules for making those. We don't check those programmatically, but we might tell you that your icon looks weird.
It'd be nice if your icon looked good. It'd also be nice if you own the material in your icon. Please don't use someone else's stock art in there.
Yeah, or their logo necessarily.
Don't use someone else's logo in your icon.
Yeah. Next one, this is a test for both as well. Handle matches controller.php. It's kind of a terse way of saying that every marketplace submission in the package format, there is a handle parameter, which is all lowercase. It has to be unique throughout the marketplace. And you specified this when you're submitting your package as well. And this is just testing that the handle you say your package has when you're submitting it actually conforms to the one you upload in your file.
Sure.
And same with the version. So when you first upload your package, you tell us what the initial version number is. Usually it's 1.0, but a lot of times people start with the pre-1.0s because they think they're going to be working on them. Some versions. And this is just a test to see that those match as well. Because if they don't match, there can be some problems when you are installing something via the marketplace and then what you actually download doesn't have the same version number. It doesn't break anything, but it can make things pretty confusing.
Eventually you can, once you're approved, have different versions of your add-ons for different versions of concrete5.
Yes.
So the stuff that you're looking to do, that infrastructure exists,
yes.
But you got to kind of start with the base one to begin with.
Yes.
The lowest, if you will.
Yeah, and then the next ones for both add-ons and themes has no forbidden functions. So we should probably post these somewhere, what they are. If your add-on or theme gets uploaded, we check it for certain forbidden functions, like any function that starts with MySQL underscore. You don't need to use the built-in MySQL functions in PHP because we have a helpful database abstraction layer already built in.
Yeah.
That's that type of thing. There's some like shell stuff that we check for, so your packages can't shell out to the file system to do some stuff. There's a number of other ones as well that if any of yours fail, in general, if any of these automatic tests fail, details about the failure will be posted as messages in the PRB.
So down below at the bottom of your listing.
Yeah, so you can see which thing got flagged, what exact function got, was the culprit.
And these tests that Andy's talking about are run every time you upload a new file in the submission process. So if you upload something, you fail half the tests, fix them, upload it again, it'll run the tests again.
Yeah. Oh, and we should mention, these don't run in real time. These run every 5 minutes or so. So if you upload a new file, you'll see that all of your your tests have been blanked out into question mark status, and then the next
you just uploaded a file. It's a good time to go get a coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe a beer.
Yeah. And so when you come back, they will have run again.
Yeah, your results are in.
Now we have a couple that only run 4 themes. Has the main area and has typography.css. If you look at our theme guidelines, we have some pretty easy to satisfy guidelines about what themes should, how their areas should be named, how your typography.css should work. Each PHP file contains exec or die statements. So at the top of every PHP file in Concrete, we ask that you include a line that you'll see all over the place in the core. It basically just says if you're requesting this file outside of concrete5 by just browsing to it directly as a PHP script, we don't let you do that because it will have all sorts of parse errors if concrete5 isn't loaded.
Yeah, it's good for security and error collection.
Yeah. Next two are theme specific as well. Has default.php file, has view.php file. These are basic theme guidelines. If you're familiar with themes at all, those will make sense to you. But we check to make sure that those files are included so that people testing packages no longer have to concern themselves with the mundane.
Take care of the easy stuff for you.
Yeah. Minimum version matches controller.php. So when you create a new marketplace item, you choose what's the minimum version of Concrete5 it will work with. And we check on the initial upload to make sure that what you're specifying is in fact what you have in the controller.php, that those match. Next one is theme specific, has valid 120 by 90 theme thumbnail. So in your themes directory, there is a second thumbnail file that is different than your package icon, and it should be 120 by 90. And these are the theme thumbnails that show up in your Concrete5 site. And finally, PHP files parse correctly. So we actually run your PHP files in a little sandbox and make sure that there are no obvious parse errors. So like missing a semicolon on a line or a brace that doesn't work. If that test fails, it's pretty likely there's going to be a number of other tests that automatically fail because we can't continue. So,
so when you pass them all, those little green sections are grayed out, and you get the check next to it.
Yep. And in the PRB interface, you can filter optionally by packages that have passed all the tests.
Right.
So it's pretty likely that when we do our final passes for approval, we aren't going to even bother looking.
Conversely, if you're a PRB member and you have particular expertise in some vein, now you can go find submissions that maybe are all doing really bad with exec or die, and you can go through with a blanket statement of, hey, this is how you do it and why you need it.
Yeah,
so it'll be easier for everyone. Then we have the secondary set of tests that we go through. These are subjective tests. We couldn't figure out a way to automate them. Some person has to go through and say yay or nay. And that's what you can see. Different people can vote yay or nay. When you vote, you have to make a comment if you're saying nay. And you're basically just going to get approval on all this stuff, right?
Yeah. We don't necessarily require that every single one has at least one check or one thumbs up on each one, but the more we see, the more we're going to know that that one's pretty close to approval.
So for themes, what are we looking for each one of these things?
There are really these are all just kind of, I don't think we even have broken these out into themes or add-ons at this point, although some of them probably are more theme specific than others, like page types behave correctly. That's kind of what we're thinking about in that vein. I guess like if you have a page type called left sidebar and you put it on there and it doesn't look like left sidebar, you should probably fix that. We're not requiring that every single theme has templates for every single page type that we ship with, but
your area name should be named the right thing. You shouldn't have a left column that you called side column when you could have called it left.
And that's actually another test called has well named areas.
Nice.
Which is smart. So that one, these are also subject to change, but this one is basically just for as long as you create page types, and if we apply them and they don't seem to make sense to your theme's internal logic.
And again, when someone thumbs it down, they have to write an explanation, and then that shows up in the comment section at the bottom. So you should get a sense of why you're getting thumbs up versus thumbs down.
And then has valid T uses for translation. So when for concrete5 to work in multiple languages, any text that you include in your PHP files should have a T function wrapped around it. No compiled code, basically just our catch-all way of saying you're not allowed to have marketplace add-ons that have keys.
Oh, it's open source. You gotta leave it uncompiled.
Yeah. Clean archive, no extraneous files. So if your theme has, or if your add-on zip has, dot files like the OS 10 DS store files or weird zips that aren't really germane to what your theme
people leave
does.
backups of old versions.
Yeah.
And stuff.
This
Clean
is
it up.
clean it
Clean
up.
it up. Come on.
Yeah.
It's sloppy. Sometimes people will stick a PSD, a Photoshop file of the original theme in there. We've kind of gone back and forth on that.
Yeah.
On the size of it.
If it's manageably small, we're talking under a couple megs. That's okay. But clean that up too, so that it's not
Yeah, and you might
megs.
figure out a way around that.
Yeah, or put it up for download and put that in a file that you distribute
Or something.
Yeah, or email for it, any number of ways. Good documentation. This is the documentation page on the concrete5.org marketplace. We, especially for add-ons that aren't just easy and self-explanatory, we ask that your documentation page does a good job at telling people how to use the app.
Something. Documentation is never fun, but there's always something you can share.
Acceptable external dependencies. That means it's usually okay if it's not too onerous a process to force that someone sign up with an API key on a different site. But if it requires actually downloading binaries and putting it in your site into this thing, we're probably not going to approve it.
No.
So that's what acceptable external dependencies mean.
Yeah, often in open source they'll be, well, you need to go get this GPL library and that GPL library and piece this all together and somehow it'll work on your end.
Yeah.
And that requires a little bit more craft than we're expecting our shoppers to generally have.
Yeah, like I know we've allowed people to set up Google Analytics add-ons by putting Google keys or authenticating once or twice
that's reasonable
with your thing. But we've also rejected a third-party add-on that was a video player that required you to download a Java player from somewhere and put it up on the site.
Yeah.
And what's great about that actually is that in many cases having that requirement, people will, instead of just blindly making that a requirement for the add-on, they'll just ask the original developer whatever they're working with if they can bundle it, and they'll usually say.
And that's fine. See, if you want to include an email of someone saying, "Look, I will grant you an LGPL license for my GPL software, so you can distribute this within the thing." Cool. We're looking for that in your submission somewhere.
And speaking of that type of a concern, doesn't contain any invalid licenses or IP. If this add-on, for example, if you have submitted something under the concrete5 marketplace license and then you include GPL stuff, we're going to deny it.
Yeah.
But you can submit something under the GPL.
Yeah, the GPL in there.
This is just
if you are submitting stuff that uses third-party branding at all or repackages a third-party service or something, I would like to see some type of, please go for it from a third party.
Or third-party stock photography and themes.
That too. You got to get approval. If you want to have, Bing for concrete5, I'm going to need someone from Microsoft saying that sounds good, because they will find it eventually and then they will sue both of us.
And that would be sad.
Bad news.
Next one, doesn't change core concrete5 editing UI. So this is probably more applicable to themes, but it can be for both.
Okay.
Basically, if you install a theme or something, whatever you've got here, if you install it and then all of a sudden when that theme's applied to your site, all the text is unreadable in the dialog boxes, or the buttons flow weird because you've got greedy style sheets, we will give that a thumbs down and not approve of that. Has well-named areas, we talked about this already. Installs correctly without errors, that should be pretty self-explanatory. And finally, marketplace page looks good. So at the top of the PRB review, you can preview how the marketplace page and listing are going to look. if we will thumbs that down if you're doing crazy stuff in your marketplace page that's going to look bad in the off-site browsing.
Yeah. That is key to remember, and we should probably add a preview to this interface if we could. But completely different interface in your inside experience. So if you hack your listing to look great at concrete5.org, it's quite possible it's going to look bad when people are just typing theme in their intelligent search field on their own site, and that's frankly more important than
we are getting more and more sales through that every day. So
got to have screenshots,
not something
that kind of stuff.
Discount.
Yeah.
Also, marketplace page looks good as a catch-all for stuff like if your add-on doesn't have any screenshots or anything like a demo. It really ought to have at least one screenshot because, like Franz was saying, that screenshot is what we use off-site as a fairly large portion of the footprint.
Well, you took the time to write the thing.
Yeah.
You might as well take the time to make it look a little good at the end, or no one's going to buy it. Or use it for free, whatever you like.
And those are the tests.
So those are the tests. So any PRB member, if you see an add-on that you want to confirm one of those things, just go there, click the thumbs up. You're done, right?
Yep.
If you see one, you're like, oh no, this, whatever, the marketplace listing looks bad, thumbs down, you got to tell them why. You got to give them something that they can work with.
Yep.
If you thumbs down something and then they do a new, you will be automatically monitored on the threads. You will get new emails when people post to it. And if they upload a new version, you want to go back and thumbs it up.
Yeah, you can do that.
Sweet. What we're looking for as the final approval line is we want all of the automated tests to work, be approved, done.
Yep.
We would like to see some good activity and some thumbs up and no thumbs down on the human tests. We will look at ones that don't have complete human tests thumbs up because some of them are a little loosey-goosey and all this stuff takes time.
Exactly what they're doing.
So we will spend our effort going kind of like last pass through the human tests, and if no one else has done them, we'll do them for you. But obviously, the more thumbs up you can get, the easier it is to approve, the more likely that we're going to use what limited time we have available to approve you guys first.
We will look at ones where there are thumbs down but also thumbs up because it's quite possible that you have corrected whatever problem.
Debate sounds exciting, yeah. And I think that's basically it. I'm sure there's more questions that you're going to have. There's forums you can ask those questions. You can private message Julia if you need a fast answer to some of them. We'll do our best. And hopefully this helps you get through the process a little bit faster. We're very excited to have your submission and/or have your time approving and validating other people's submissions. The marketplace here at concrete5.org has always been a big differentiator for us from other projects. It's very compelling that you can install stuff and know that your site won't break and that the stuff that you're installing is going to actually work without hours and hours of fiddling around. So it's very important that we keep that going together. It takes energy from everybody, and we really appreciate that you guys are willing to help. Thanks.
Thanks.